Hey everyone, it's Andrew Schiffman.
Harry Turcotte here. We both worked at MTV in the music and talent department in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, it was a time where music videos, TRL, The Jersey Shore, and the Osbournes ruled the airwaves.
Yes, Andrew, those were some great years. So tune in every week as we catch up with old MTV co-workers, record label execs, VJs, and artists.
I can't wait, Perry. We'll give you insights into meeting superstars before they were superstars and some juicy secrets from that golden age of MTV.
So grab your headphones and get ready to relive the era of music television and the people who shaped a generation.
Hi, we're back. Welcome to the Music Lounge, my favorite place to be, talking to my favorite people. How are we today?
Very well, Andrew. We are recording this the week before Christmas. So we thought that when we were at MTV, we would always get some really amazing gifts from the record labels and management companies. So today's episode is going to be about the perks of working at MTV. Even though this will air after Christmas, it'll be a fun conversation, I think.
Yeah. How are you, Susan?
I'm
Susan's
good.
back.
I'm good. Survived my first week in an office Monday through Friday since prior to the pandemic.
So Susan
So
got a
getting
new
used to
job,
that.
everyone.
Yes, I'm
Yes,
the new
congratulations.
Thank you. I'm the
Amazing.
new director of marketing and partnerships at the Paley Center for Media. So
Excellent.
very different. It's a nonprofit, and you guys know I'm a for-profit girl. So we'll see. We'll
You
see
can,
how it
bring
works
in some money for them and some exposure.
out. It's the Paley Center, and like for those of us that work in media, like we're very familiar with it and we love it. It's just if you don't work in media, you might not know what it is. The name Paley might not mean much to anybody else. So it's like, how do we get the public to come in and experience everything it has to offer? So there are definitely challenges with it.
There's
That's what I'm
amazing
there for.
stuff there, though. I
There
mean,
is.
yeah,
There
it's
is.
incredible.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So yes, so
You're back.
I'm excited.
They have an amazing podcast studio there too. Maybe we can
They
try
do.
and do an episode there.
Absolutely.
And you got in time for all of the work holiday parties.
Yes, our Paley party is next week.
Okay, there you go.
So yeah, just making it. And then after the holidays, I'll hit the ground running with whatever our big Q1 exhibit will be, which I'm pretty sure is going to be around the Super Bowl. So, and then we have
Excellent.
Paley Fest LA happening in March. So a lot.
You get to
going
do a bit
on.
of traveling.
I don't know if I'll travel for it. I'm not quite sure, who goes to LA for what, because there's a very small office in LA that handles a
Mhm.
lot of it. But, I will be definitely working to help raise awareness and excitement and get people to buy tickets. And last year, they had a lot of great shows. Like they get like really big shows for the Paley Fest in LA and in New York. It's in New York in the fall, like the morning show. There was a morning show panel. So, it's in the Dolby set. They have it at the Dolby Center in LA, which I think is 3,000 seats. So it's, a little bigger than what we do in New York, but
Amazing.
yeah.
Good stuff. I think 2025 has to be a year for all of us, right? It's a quarter century year, right? Whatever that means. I can think it means something good.
I feel like it was just 2005.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
I'm very confident and hopeful for myself. I had a rebrand. I got some interviews lined up. I've made a fact that I am not a non-profit, so I can't be doing shit for free anymore. And I'm about to eliminate some things off my plate that are not paying me what my time is worth. Can't be doing shit for free. but I am very hopeful.
Now the election is over.
Yeah, there's some money out
Hopefully,
there, and
budgets will start to open up.
yeah, people can spend. I think, there was a lot of cleanup in the industry this last half year, and people were starting to hire again. So maybe they were just cleaning up and getting rid of some old boots and stuff. Let's polish some new ones. But yeah, I loved the holiday times at MTV, not just for the Christmas parties and things like that, but my whole career there, I felt like there was a lot of perks. My first week working in LA, I think I've told this, I got to work VH1 Storytellers, The Doors. And to me, Doors was one of my all-time favorite bands. So that was a massive perk, just being able to witness that taping and, being part of that experience, perks. I was so passionate about my programming. A perk for me could be putting together a playlist that I was so passionate about and excited about, and that hour of TV got exposed to hundreds of thousands of people, right? So we can look at perks a lot different. Obviously, going to shows that we were really passionate about was a perk. Some we had to go, not so perkish. Dinners, perk, my record label people knew I loved Jack Daniels. Bottles delivered to my office for adding their video, perk, right?
Well, for me also, it was that, especially on the .com side, there was in the early days, there was very little oversight on a lot of stuff that we were doing. So it allowed us to be super creative and do really fun things with artists that, if we had been on the channel side and it needed to appear on a show and it needed to get a rating and it needed to do this, that, and the other thing, we probably would never have been able to do it. But the fact that, we did a show called MTV.com Live, and, it was shot in this tiny little studio on 24th Street. One of the first artists that we did was Kanye. And then his keyboardist was John Legend before he was John Legend.
That is true,
So
yeah.
the fact that
Tri-Town, yep.
the fact that I got to sort of be in this tiny little space, with them and performing. But we also did, tons of other. I did Green Day, I did Kelly Clarkson, I did Interpol. It was amazing, and everyone kind of wanted to do it because it was like it was a fun. It was sort of really down and dirty, and it wasn't like it was broadcast quality. It just wasn't broadcast, which was kind of
It
cool.
was it was a little bit raw
Yeah, it was, but
and
it was
unplugged,
really
as they
neat
say.
to be able to book those artists and have them say yes to doing it. I mean, obviously Kelly Clarkson had won American Idol, but she was not yet the sort of superstar that she obviously is now, or But and Green Day obviously was a superstar, and the fact that they said yes was amazing to me. But it was super fun to do with them.
Nice.
So
I have a little
yeah.
John Legend story. My wife worked at Columbia at the time, and we went to New Haven or somewhere, Connecticut, I think, and he performed in this little like cafe for the local radio station at like 4 in the afternoon. There was probably 20 people in there, and there was a marriage proposal in there as well.
Wow.
But it was like 20 people. They were as close as I am to my computer screen. So there was lots of industry perks floating around. Some you were taken to because you knew someone, or I remember I covered a Justin Bieber shoot and was able to bring in my niece. So able to extend your perks as well, which was always nice.
Well, and then there was also the opportunity to travel too. I mean, I didn't travel as much as some other people in the department, but just to go and cover shoots in different cities around the country, or I even got to go on one international trip, which was nice.
Nice.
So, there was a lot of great things about working there. And the other thing I wanted to mention was that, since this is the holiday season when we're recording this, we were talking about parties. So there was obviously the big MTV party, which,
Hammerstein, right?
is legendary. Hammerstein. I went to one of them at Palladium,
So
actually.
did I.
Yeah, when there was a Palladium.
Yeah.
But I remember one year. So I was at the MTV party. There was an MTV.com party. There was an MTV Music and Talent Department party. There was an MTV.com Music and Talent party. And then there must have been one or two others. I was like, this is great. I'm like going out every night of the week. I certainly couldn't do it today, but 20 years ago, that was very fun to do.
You never went out and you never thought about money. You never thought about paying and, oh shit, how can I go out and how much have I got in my bank account? Now is obviously you go out and you're like, all right, can only maybe do a couple nights. I'm paying for this. But not once did you ever think about what was in your bank account to have a good time. You just went out. Yeah. And even if you paid, it was expensed.
Right.
But
Right.
I never had a big expense account, but I knew that I would just never have to worry about paying, which was a nice perk.
Well, the other part of that too was even transportation. Like, I mean,
Always
this is
ordering cars, yeah.
pre Uber, but
XYZ
we had car
vouchers.
services, and when we had taxis too. I mean, I can't tell you how many taxi receipts I put on my expense reports for like everything that I went to. It was crazy to saving all of these little like taxi receipts that we had to tape to a piece of paper and submit them. But the fact that I was able to take a cab and not have to pay for it eventually was a nice perk of working there.
Yeah. Susan can attest to the perks of working in long form programming. They were very lavish about events and offsites at
Well,
Noah
the
Spanks. We
offsites.
did some in New York as well. We rented penthouses to do a programming offsite for the day, and here's the menu and order whatever you want. And whenever I traveled, I always upgraded to a convertible as well. A car, just little things, but programming as well. We had we got to go to Montauk, and I got to do Santa Barbara 3 times a year for 2 years, which was insane.
Montauk, see, you have a great memory, and I wish I wrote down. I wish I back then had the foresight to write down everything that we did.
Yeah.
Because I don't
back.
have it recorded because we didn't
Right.
have camera phones. We didn't even have cell phones way back. But yeah, now you
Which is
mentioned
good that
Montauk.
there's no proof to some of that.
Some of it, yeah, but Montauk, yeah, I remember there were gifts. There was a welcome basket in everybody's room.
We
And
used
then
to put
every
that
night
together,
there was a
right?
drop off of a gift. And we will also let people use the spa at Montauk, and they would be able to charge it to the company.
Right. I remember the gift
Yeah.
bags we used to do, and we used to raid the swag closet at MTV.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that the other day. I just remember going in there and taking a watch or a sweatshirt. I need a new pen. Go get an MTV pen. A lot of swag. I still have some stuff in a box somewhere. I think I've got this
Oh, you're good.
Newlyweds shrink wrap T-shirt that's in a ball. I've never opened it. Just things. I've got some Beavis and Butthead stuff.
Oh, you're
I
good.
have
You're
a
good. You kept it.
Video Music Awards giant Pez that it's actually right here.
I remember those.
Well, somebody was posting online the other day about the MTV networks.
The size of this Pez. The size of my torso.
The holiday gifts that we would get every year from the company. and the large travel bag that we got one year, which
They gave us bags for everything. Yeah.
yeah. So I remember the VMAs after that Christmas. I flew into LA for the VMAs, and every bag on the carousel looked exactly the same because it was all they. Everybody brought that MTV bag with them
It was a
to the
soft
VMAs
duffel,
that
right?
year.
With
Yeah.
wheels.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yes.
I love
absolutely.
that bag.
Yeah.
It
It was
was
perfect.
awesome. It
Yeah.
was so great. It fit. You could pack for 2 weeks using that bag. It was
And
great.
that happened at spring break. Like, so that following March, like, remember we were all in Cancun at the airport, like waiting for the baggage to come out. And
Wasn't there.
people were grabbing the wrong bags and taking
Yeah.
the wrong bags back to the hotel. Luckily, like, it would have been an MTV person's bag that they grabbed, not a complete stranger. But yeah, that caused chaos when we were.
So as far as like perks of concerts, what was one concert that you got to go see because you worked at MTV that you don't think you would have ever been able to ever see because you wouldn't been able to afford it, or you would not have necessarily been such a big fan that you'd want to buy a ticket, but you did go and you're like so super happy that you went?
I mean, hundreds of shows. It's hard to say. And working at MTV and in the industry was really my first career. I've never really bought tickets. Now I buy a ticket if it's a special band I want to see. But back then, I've never really bought a ticket before. So I can't say what career I would have been doing that I would have been going to a lot of shows. But we got exposed to a lot of music, and that was a treat. Some bands we may not be too familiar with, and you've said it before, Perry, after seeing them live, you have a total new respect, appreciation, passion, which then can resolve into you really being a champion for that band and hoping to break them.
So for me, it was definitely Prince.
Okay.
Having not necessarily having been the biggest Prince fan. I mean, I totally respected him as an artist, but going to see him live at Madison Square Garden was, I don't want to say it was life changing, but it was life. It was my attitude towards him as a musician changed. I was so much more impressed and in awe of him. The other one that was an amazing perk was when Columbia took the whole music and talent team down to Asbury Park to see Bruce Springsteen rehearsing for his tour. And we got to basically sit in an auditorium as the band played their whole set. And we were like the only ones there, which was, I mean, unbelievable. And then we got to meet the boss after,
Wow.
which was like incredible to be able to do that.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
any show we went to, there was an opportunity for a meet and greet, right? Or having the band come in earlier in the day to the office was an opportunity for you to meet them up close and personal. I remember, you know, Susan, you just having the access. If someone you wanted to see, you would run down to the TRL studio, like maybe Pam was coming in or someone. So you had, just because of, you were on 25 and relationships you had in the building, you were able to like maneuver and have your own little set of perks, whatever you wanted, right? Pretty
Yeah.
much, if you wanted
I
to.
Yeah, I definitely took advantage of that more earlier in my career at MTV when I was only there like my first few years. And well, of course, every time Pam Anderson was there, I was there in the studio. But like, I remember seeing STP perform. And I think this might have been before Total Request 5. I can't remember, but I remember, like, if there was a big a band that I was super interested in, most likely a grunge band or someone that I listened to in college. So I would, go into the studio, watch. I also, at the time, I had my own line of handbags. So
Oh
I remember
yes,
when Charlie's
yeah.
Angels came in, like I gave them each like a handbag, like Britney Spears, like
So
um
is it bags off of the line, or did you go back and custom a bag for those for those
I did it off the
celebs?
line, I think.
Okay,
I know. I did it off the line.
I
But
remember that. That was a little time in history where you were,
yeah, a little entrepreneur. I
a
don't know
little
where I
bit of
had
a
the
buzz
energy
going
from.
on.
So
And
I don't. Oh, go ahead, Susan.
I was just saying, and I remember I also had bags in the, I think the movie awards gift baskets for talent
Nice.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I've mentioned this previously on the show. One one other perk, obviously, going back to the concerts was, um, you know, I got to see a big Madonna fan, and I got to see her um, in 2008, and I had seen her in New York a few weeks prior, and then I went to Atlanta to see her with some friends, and we were so close to the stage that when she came out and actually handed the microphone to my friend to do a sing along with her. And he like totally froze. So I grabbed the mic from him and I was singing Into the Groove with Madonna
Wow.
to the whole stadium in Atlanta. Um, and then I got laid off 2 weeks later. And I was like, if this is the way I go out, this is the best way to go out. It
Yeah,
was
that's
amazing.
special. And you
Yeah,
got those tickets because of your role and position and relationship.
absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
Those are the things that I look back on and I go, never in a million years would I have ever thought that I would be able to do something like that. It
Yeah,
was just it is a memory that is seared into my mind. It was just unbelievable.
it's big. I'm a big Radiohead fan, and remember we did the $2 bill
Oh
Radiohead,
yeah. Oh
and
yeah.
I don't think I worked it, but I was there and I had an opportunity to go, and that may have been a really hard ticket to go to if I wasn't working at MTV or in the industry, and that was one of the most amazing shows. And I remember in LA, I don't know what we were doing with Radiohead, but it was in the House of Blues, and it was probably some VMA thing. I don't think the $2 bill was taping. I think that was in New York. So this was something separate. But I was at the House of Blues. I was in the green room, like the artists bar, having a conversation with one of the band members from Radiohead. And I think I don't even know what they performed, where, but that opportunity wouldn't have happened unless I wasn't at the House of Blues for like an MTV show with an all access pass. And there was a lot of moments like that where bands I grew up loving, I got to see very special shows that was an MTV taping, or even bands like Young the Giant. I got into them at MTV. I supported them. I helped champion them. They got a rock performance spot on the VMAs.
You
Susan,
were so
oh,
I
I
was
was
gonna
going to
say
say, yeah.
Andrew did not you did not work the $2 bill Radiohead because you were sitting in front of me.
Okay.
And then I was sitting next to G Rock, and then behind us was Civic.
So was
And
I
we
in
had really good
programming?
seats.
So maybe I wasn't in the
Um,
music
I think
department,
you might have been in programming still.
but it didn't matter. We could
Doesn't matter, yeah.
still, if someone knew you were a fan, um, yeah, it was easy to get to. We theoretically programmed it on TV, right?
Yeah, exactly. It was the MTV2 show.
Scheduled a
So
couple reruns and supported it that way. But yeah, maybe we all went as a programming um team. Went to see the Arctic Monkeys with G Rock as well. I wasn't in the music team, but massive fan when they first came about, and yeah, got to go to an amazing show. We always had a good view, right? We could get on a
you had
balcony
great
in a
seats.
VIP area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember doing a Discover and Download performance with them again in a
Arctic
very,
Monkeys.
yeah,
Yeah.
very tiny studio. Um, I honestly did not really know who they were, So I didn't necessarily, I think that was for me, that was one of the sort of things that made me good at my job, was because I kind of, on the emerging artist front, I didn't necessarily know who a lot of these bands were. So I didn't know enough to sort of be not intimidated, but sort of be fan, be a fan so much. I was just like, oh, hey, come on in, we're going to do our shoot, blah, blah, blah. It was like, it wasn't like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm with the Arctic Monkeys and, that type of stuff. What about parties? Any good party stories?
God, see, now you're talking my language, Perry. The parties. So now I did go to a lot of concerts. I honestly, I couldn't even, I'd have to look at ticket stubs because I believe I tried to keep all of them. I couldn't even tell you. Like you, I went to that Prince show, always loved Prince, but was blown away about him as a musician. And that I would say that the best concert I've ever seen from a performance standpoint is Prince.
Yeah.
Whereas like other shows, like, I'm more of a rock chick. Like I saw Guns N' Roses when Axl went back on tour before he got together with Slash and Duff. But like, this is when he had like Buckethead, and Kevin Wright ended up with Van Toffler's tickets. So we were sitting right next to the stage. And I was just losing my mind. Like every song that Guns N' Roses were singing, it was like my favorite song. And, I remember like grabbing Kevin and shaking him and be like, is it my favorite song? And Dave Cerolnik and Alex Coletti, and I don't even know who else was like standing right behind us, probably thinking like, Susan is so quiet in meetings and she's, going crazy here. But parties, now you speak in my language. Cause like that was the best part for me. It was like, I was the party girl. And if there wasn't a party being thrown, I was going to throw the party. And I did throw a lot of MTV parties because I threw the name around like, oh, it's Susan from MTV. I'm like, I want to do like an after party for like an event. Can you give us a space? It wasn't really an official MTV party. It was just like, hey guys, I secured us like a room at the 4040 Club, like with like free drinks.
It was easy to do. MTV was buzzing.
Easy to do.
Yeah.
I never missed a party. Like you, my first holiday party was Palladium, and that was nuts. I mean, it was nuts. And that was my first real like taste of New York City, and I was like, oh my God, what have I gotten myself into?
Was that the one where, wasn't there like live penguins at one of the parties?
That was in 1997 or 1998. That was at the Hammerstein.
Okay.
And it was the Winter Wonderland theme.
Right.
And
so mine in New York would have started after 2002.
Okay. They were a little crazier before that.
Yes. Well, they actually used to fly the whole staffs of the LA office into New York to go to the Christmas party.
Yeah. Companies still do that. Not a lot, but some.
I mean, look, they used to have white bars. So, and that wasn't a bar that served alcohol. There was a lot of drugs.
Yeah, that was before my time.
People hooking up in the coat checks, and not me. And it was salacious and insane, and nobody judged.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun. And
so many people, just massive.
So many people.
You have never been to these massive venues where it is just rammed.
I mean,
thousands of people.
3,000, 4,000 people from the company all in one venue at one night. Yeah.
Double fisting wasted.
Can you imagine the cost of putting something like that on?
Oh God.
How much it must have cost the company to do that?
Alcohol? I can't even.
Just in the cars home.
Yeah. I mean, that was, like, so the parties would start at 7:30. Everybody from the NOC would show up at 7:15 and just start drinking.
Yeah. There'll be
And
no
then
need for an after party, really. I don't
we still
remember.
did. I mean, we all still went
Maybe.
out somewhere
I
afterwards,
can't
even though
remember.
like, yeah, like, I mean, they were serving till probably 4 a.m. at the MTV parties, but then we all decided, oh, we didn't have enough. We're going to go out afterwards.
Yeah.
Food, sushi bars,
Yeah.
like hot food, cold food, um, DJ, go-go
Music was
dancers.
always good.
Music was always good, and it
Yeah.
was packed. It
Yeah.
was packed. All 3 levels
Yeah.
were packed.
Yeah. I don't remember outside of the MTV parties going to like label Christmas stuff. I mean, they couldn't, there was a lot of dinners and things like that for Pacific events or before a show, but they couldn't invite outside people to their big events unless they were hosting a VMA party or something like that.
Well, I do remember though having like holiday dinners with label reps. Just sort of, you know, a let's celebrate the year that we had together.
Sure, yeah.
That type of stuff too.
And there would be a handful of maybe like 15, 20 people from MTV, different departments, couple people from each, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also there was not just the holiday parties, but there was the, VMA's after parties too, which were, could be
That's where
crazy
the
and
labels
insane.
hosted their own as well.
Yes, they did.
Uh,
I remember MTV had in the 90s, their after party for VMAs was Bryant Park.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yes.
And that was huge and crazy.
Was it outside?
Yeah.
It was.
So they
Yeah,
used to
it was.
like barricade in areas of the park. I guess it was in the summer too, right? So
Yeah.
ish.
And the other cool thing about it was, I mean, I don't even remember. I'm sure there probably was, but I don't remember like a VIP section because it was before
It was all
before
VIP.
cell phones. No one could be like photographing somebody doing something they shouldn't be doing. So I was at VH1 at the time, but our VP of production was always able to get us tickets to the show and then to the after party. And I just remember walking through Bryant Park and seeing like celebrity after celebrity after celebrity. And I was like, who am I that I can be standing in the middle of a park in New York City at night and like surrounded by all these famous people? I mean, I just, again, would never have thought that that would be sort of a perk of answering somebody's phone in an office. You know what I mean?
And that was too a time before we had real access to celebrities. Now they share everything on social media, but like
Right.
that was back in time where like, everything they did was private and gated. So when you saw somebody in person or doing something in person, it was surreal. Now I feel like nobody would be fazed because
That is
everybody
true.
shares everything.
That is
But,
true. Yeah.
And then I remember we would also have parties when new shows would launch. So I remember
Right.
like we had a new animated show launching on a Monday night, and there was a party at China Club. Open bar, open everything, like
Premiere
on a
parties,
Monday,
stuff like that.
on a Monday. Like a crazy, like people were going crazy, like and ad sales used to have the bust the budget parties, and they, those were crazy. And then, and speaking of ad sales, and ad sales would always have their separate parties for clients. So, you'd have the VMA after party for like people that worked it and celebrities, but then ad sales was also had like their own like after party for all of the advertisers. And I can't even imagine how crazy that was. It's
Yeah.
probably even crazier than what we've experienced.
When I was at VH1, we used to do this event called Lift Ticket to Ride,
I remember that.
which was for the cable operators and advertisers. And they did a raffle one year to win a pair of tickets to go, and I actually won. So I took my friend Carolyn, we sat next to each other. We were both assistants at the time, and she had just broken up with her boyfriend. And I was like, let's just go. So we went. We didn't have to work. We didn't have to do anything. We could just enjoy the whole weekend on, MTV Network's dime. And we were, like guests of the event. It was so awesome to sort of be there. And again, it was like one of those things where, what I love skiing. Who would have thought I could win a free trip to go to where were we, Tahoe that year? And it was amazing. It was so much fun.
Nice. It's nice to go to work event with the access without having to work, like Susan going to VMAs, right?
Oh, those were fun. I mean, I did work some of them.
Right.
The ones when I worked, I was probably helping like all the casting guys. So I would be in the pit, hyping up the audience when we were coming back from commercial break. And because I was in the pit, like I was up next to the stage, watching like Rage Against the Machine perform, like Britney perform, like I could reach out and touch them. So that was a lot of fun. And then sitting and just watching was fun as well.
Yeah. The job I had before I got to MTV was in a boutique PR firm called MSO in LA, and they got the account for Coachella, Vans Warped Tour. They had this was in like 99, 2000. They had Korn and Disturbed and like crazy bands. And I remember working Coachella in 99, the first one. It was empty, and my job was working the photo pit, kicking out the photographers after 30 seconds of the first 3 songs. But then I would get to hang out in the photo pit by myself for the whole set of Tool, I think Morrissey, I think Rage was that year as well. So those kind of perks were installed in me before I got to MTV, so it's kind of like expected, You work in the music industry, you have access, and I got to work it pretty well. I always managed to get whatever I want.
I'm pretty much ruined now.
Yeah.
If somebody says you want to go see a show with me, I'm like,
yeah. I won't go to a festival now, GA. I didn't even like to go to festivals. I went to Lollapalooza this year. I had, backstage, whatever. It was just too many people. There was still some access I didn't have because I wasn't with a band. It was just too much. And then, there's just too many people now in these VIP areas that, so I have to wait an hour to get to one stage to the others, and I have to get on this backstage golf cart, and I have to wait in a 45-minute line because everyone from VIP's back there. So, things aren't what they used to be back then. I went to a few festivals where I had my own golf cart. Now, that was special. That was fun.
That is a VIP.
Yeah. Another company after MTV, we worked this festival called Firefly, and we got Pinfield to be our host. And so we had our own golf cart, and we got him just riding around from stage to stage to do interviews, so just to have that access was really, really nice. That's the way to do it.
Yeah. To access, and even like concerts, if you weren't in a VIP area, our seats were really good. The MTV seats, like I would never have been able to afford a seat.
Right.
We were treated well. We were literally walked in to a empty row of prime seating.
Yeah. Any celebrities that you met that you thought, wow, this is just an amazing opportunity to be sort of meeting this person, talking to this person, seeing this person that you were just a huge fan of?
I mean, The Gallagher brothers for me, man. MTV2, big up 120 minutes. Got to cover the Liam Gallagher shoot in this guitar shop in New York. And then separately, Noel, I got to meet both of those guys. Never had any like formal introductions with. I got to meet Beyonce.
Anyone for you, Susan?
You know, a lot of the people I would have liked to have met, like Kurt Cobain, like, you know, I was still in college when he committed suicide. So, you know, that wasn't happening for me at MTV. And then Lane Staley, but like Alice in Chains Unplugged happened like right before I got to MTV, and then, you know, he overdosed like a couple years later. So like I didn't get to meet like the guys in the band. And I don't think Pearl Jam ever really came in. Like they didn't do anything like that. Neither did Soundgarden or Chris Cornell. I did meet Dave Navarro, which is why I've said it before, like I was supposed to marry a rock star. That's why I wanted to work at MTV. I shouldn't be working this hard. You know, I did meet Dave. He was very sweet, but he was engaged to Carmen Electra at that time. And I think he just, you know, I couldn't charm him because she was always hanging around. And Pam Anderson, of course, who I loved, and I still love her. Like, I feel like we've been on the same path. She's still my big sister. I don't know who else. I guess I don't really get starstruck with anybody else. You know, Tom Brady wouldn't have come into MTV for anything. One time I remember like in the programming pit, and I had this shirt on that said "Big Pussy," and it was a gift from a friend. This is when Sopranos was at the height of television. So I was like you know, and then he was one of the characters. So I remember like getting up from my chair and like turning around, and Jay-Z is standing in front of me, and he's like, "I want to shake your hand for wearing that shirt."
Oh,
I was like,
nice.
"Oh, are you a Sopranos fan?" He's like, "Yeah, right." And I was like, and I thought that was funny. So like that was like a weird moment. I don't know. I can't remember. Like there's been so many. And then not just
Around
like,
too many actors.
yeah, there wasn't,
That would
I
have
don't know,
been
like whoever came in for
big.
TRL that I wanted to like meet, I would just go down there and meet. But like I can't remember. Like I feel like when people ask me that, I have to say, you have to like
I know
name
I'm forgetting a
celebrity,
bunch.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
I'm
and
forgetting
then
a
I can
bunch.
remember.
What about you,
So,
Perry?
so for me, you know, when I was actually at VH1, I did celebrity talent. So, you know, we were basically a promo for anyone who was coming into New York to do promo for a TV show or a movie. We were a stop on their promo tour. So, you know, I got to meet people like, you know, Harrison Ford and John Travolta and folks like that. We did a show called VH1 Honors, and they were like, who are we going to get to host? Who are we going to get to host? I was like, well, you know, there's this new show on NBC that's doing kind of well. It's, you know, all about these young people living in New York. And I'm like, maybe we could try and get, you know, some of those people to host. And everyone's like, I don't know what that show is. And, you know, why would we want them? I'm like, no, it's going to be big. It's going to be big. I promise you. So we had Jennifer Aniston and Lisa Kudrow host the show.
Oh,
And that summer, the show, like it did well its first season, but that summer exploded. And everyone's like, oh my God, I can't believe you got Jennifer Aniston and Lisa Kudrow to host the show. I was like, yeah, but we did it before they were like the biggest stars on TV. We did a special with the cast of My Best Friend's Wedding. So I had Julia Roberts, Cameron Diaz, Dermot Mulroney, and Rupert Everett come in, and we did a special with them, which was kind of cool. I mean, Julia was like the biggest star in the world at that time, and the fact that I got to sit in a room with her for like 2 hours was pretty incredible. I didn't really interact with her,
yeah.
but that was neat. And then we did a taping for the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and I booked Susan Sarandon for it. But we were, they were still setting up. So she and I are just sitting in the lobby of this place where we're taping, just shooting the shit, the two of us. And I was like, okay, this is bizarre that I am just sitting here with this Oscar winner, like just the two of us just chatting about like nothing. And, so those were sort of like those pinch me moments, but at the same time, I think it was a year or two later, I saw her in like Soho walking down the street. I was like, oh my God, Susan Sarandon. Like, I still
Wonder if
got
she
excited.
recognised me.
No. But I still,
Susan, it's me, Perry.
I still got it when I'd see somebody, what I used to say in like the wild, I'd still kind of like fan out. I'd be like, oh my God, I can't believe I got to see her. Like, even though I'd spent, like an afternoon with her one day. But,
Yeah.
so, those are, I mean, again, I was this, kid from Massachusetts who was just like, so into entertainment and music and film and TV, and never thought I would ever spend a minute working in it. I got my master's in education administration. I was not supposed to be working in the entertainment business. And it all happened by a fluke. And, I've, loved pretty much every moment of it since then.
I felt like I'd been around celebrities ever since I came to the States. Went to LA, had an ex-girlfriend that was a celebrity. She had a big celebrity friend at the time in LA.
Spill it.
I don't know. So I dated this voiceover actress, and at the time she was in like Rugrats, and she was the voice of Batgirl, and she was like on fire. She got booked for Sabrina the Teenage Witch movie. So we were hanging out with Melissa Joan Hart for a couple years. One of her high school friends or someone she also knew was Nev Campbell. So we would hang out with them. And, in the late 90s, Melissa and Nev, and, it was pretty cool.
They're
But
big names.
so we used to
Then.
go to a lot of parties and hang out, just normal, house, a lot of house parties in the hills.
Yeah.
So I was doing that. Yeah. So I've been, that was kind of my access before. And I used to work at Fred Siegel on Melrose. So some of my clients were like Elizabeth Shue, and she used to see big celebrities come and go from that place. You would have your kind of roster of people you would sell to. So other salespeople knew to stay away, or you were like somewhere else and someone would come and get you and say Elizabeth Shue's in, so they were very respectful about your clientele because you worked on commission as well. But
And if people don't know what Fred Siegel was,
yeah, I mean, it's a clothing
unfortunately, it's
store
not
to the
there anymore.
stars.
But yeah, it's like it was the Barneys of LA.
Yeah.
And that's where all the celebrities would go shop.
Yeah. And also, we would get some stylists with a band come for a music video shoot. So they would come and grab clothes as well. And yeah, they had a very fancy restaurant, an outdoor place. So yeah, people used to come and go for lunch. And fortunate enough to be a successful salesman, I was like fresh off the boat, as they say, in my 20s, English guy. It was nice. So I had a little bit of taste of all that lifestyle before MTV. Just kind of fell in my lap, But yeah, those were some big perks. I think you can look at perks as thinking this was everyday life, An outsider might think, did it take away some of the feelings of being starstruck? I don't know. I was quite happy not being so starstruck and frazzled and thinking that's my life.
It's funny, when I'm working and I'm with talent or a celebrity, I know that, it's just my job to make sure that everything goes as smoothly as and easily for them as possible. But as I said, if I was J Lo's escort one year at the VMAs, and it was, there was a lot of moving pieces with her, and it was just we we just sort of had to be on our toes. But I wasn't like starstruck being with her because it was my job. However, if I were to see somebody out in, like I said, the wild, I would go crazy. I was at the a hotel there used to be in the Nico in LA, and underground garage. I park my car. I go walk to the elevator. There's a couple walking towards me. This very tall, handsome Hispanic guy, and this woman with this like ratty dishwater blonde hair. And the three of us get in the elevator, and I'm like, this guy's really handsome. And then I was like, she looks kind of familiar. So it was Madonna and Carlos Leon.
Hmm.
So I was like, okay, the three of us are in this elevator together. Do I say something? Do I not say something?
It's
I
tough,
did
man.
not say something to
Yeah.
them. So, but it was funny because I wasn't even looking at her. He's the one who I thought was like the more striking one of the couple. So, but I was, as soon as I got off the elevator, I started calling all of my friends and being like, I just saw Madonna. I just saw Madonna. So that was crazy. It was fun.
Right.
Yeah.
Bruce Willis lives in my town. He held the door open for me at a gas station once, going into gas station / Dunkin' Donuts.
Funny. So
But yeah, I mean, all in all, we had a lot of good perks, man. Very, very grateful and appreciative, and we'll remember some of these experiences for forever.
well, I think the biggest perk for me working at MTV was just the friendships and relationships that I made with the people who worked there. I mean, it's still, as we've been doing this
Don't get soft now,
podcast.
Perry.
You what?
Don't get soft.
No. But what I'm saying is, as we've been doing this podcast and talking to a lot of folks that we've, worked with many years ago, and I may not have necessarily had the opportunity to keep in touch with, it has been, it has been nice to rediscover those relationships and friendships and realize that, these were people who were like important to me at that time. And, it's nice to have sort of, kind of brought that back a little bit.
Yeah, agreed. I think people coming onto these podcasts aren't doing it. It's more for the personal chat with a bonus of, yeah, it's going to go out there on social media. But I think we've had some everyone's been genuine and really just wanted to catch up. The fact is we're just taping it and putting it out there for everyone to listen.
Yeah.
And then I would say for me, what was great about other friends, of course, like, the three of us all met at MTV, but also we worked with the best and the brightest in the business. Everybody was so smart, and I didn't realize how good they were until I worked at other companies.
Right. Yeah.
MTV hired well.
They did.
And it also seemed to weed out the people too that just weren't the right fit also.
Mhm.
Like there was people who kind of came and went very quickly, and then there was people who were there for the long haul and actually really got embedded in the company. I mean, we've said it before, it was lightning in a bottle, that period of time at MTV, because there was so much that we were able to do. And anybody who had an idea, it could be, it might not go anywhere, but it might become the next big thing. You just never knew. And it was, the opportunity to be creative there was probably, again, one of the biggest perks about working at that company too, because that you don't find that everywhere. Yeah.
No, you don't.
Love it. Well, guys, this has been another great chat. Thanks
Thank
for
you
jumping
for
on.
taking the time. I appreciate it.
Yeah, likewise. This is the last taping before the new year, so we will be back. Actually, yeah, I wasn't even going to hear this anyway till after the new year. So I hope everyone had an amazing holiday. Take some time off, focus on your goals, and let's hit the ground running.
Thank you.
All right.
Right.
We will talk soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for joining us today in the Music Lounge.
And tune in next week to hear more stories about your favorite era of MTV.